I go to church when Joanne was. I try to set an example for my nephew. I come see you. I do all kinds of good things.
Maybe some of the things you choose to do aren't God's favorite.
What are you trying to say?
How's it going? It's YattaMagnus here to talk to you today about The Sopranos. So, The Sopranos is one of those shows that came out when I was really young. It was really popular, and I didn't get into it until right before the final season. And initially, I went out to Chicago to install security systems for a company right out of high school. And my roommate, who was also my boss, introduced me to The Sopranos, and he had all the box sets and everything. And I actually have seasons 1 through 5, and then there's season 6, part 1 and 2. And I'm not going to show you the cover for season 5 because it's bogus. It has some spoilers on it. And that brings me to what I wanted to talk to you about regarding Sopranos. Is there's a movie called The Many Saints of Newark, and it's on HBO. It's essentially I've had people ask me, do I need to watch this movie before I watch the show? Do I watch the movie after I watch the show? Can I watch the movie instead of watching the show? And my answer is Sopranos is one of the best shows of all time. I would say top 5. I've rewatched it many, many times. And the first time I watched it, I was actually, I guess I would have still been closer in age to the character Christopher, the up-and-coming adult, the up-and-coming guy trying to figure out how to make his way in this world. And now that I'm, older and I have a bunch of kids and whatever watching the show, now I'm identifying more with Tony Soprano. Same thing happens with like The Simpsons. You watch The Simpsons as a kid, you identify with Bart. You watch The Simpsons as an adult, you identify with Homer. Same thing, Home Improvement, the kids, whatever their dang names are, JTT or whatever, and then the adult is Tim Allen. Anyways, back to The Sopranos and The Many Saints of Newark. I'm keeping this as spoiler-free as I can, but I don't recommend watching The Many Saints of Newark before watching Sopranos. It technically takes place before Sopranos, but it gives away a few things, and so many things will go right over your head because the movie has a lot of like fan service, a lot of little Easter eggs that is funner to pick up on after you've heard about the story of it happening. On the characters on The Sopranos are going to be talking about this and this happened, and then you see it happen in that movie. But if you watch the movie first, you're going to not have any real frame of reference for when it happens, if that makes sense. So I watched Many Saints of Newark with my friend Will, and we both enjoyed it, but it was kind of one of those things where we're like, man, we need to rewatch Sopranos. Like, what are they even saying? Like, who are they talking about? Dickie Moltisanti? Is that Christopher's dad? I don't even... Yes, it is. And oh, that was young Paulie? Oh, that was young, Silvio? Anyways, don't watch the show before you watch... Or don't watch the movie before you watch the show. The show is timeless. The show is like an amazing time capsule of like the late 1999, late 90s, early 2000s, the way things are in America, post 9/11, pre-smartphones. People have like a lot of flip phones and stuff, and kind of where technology was at. It's a good time capsule of that period of time. but don't watch Many Saints of Newark before watching the show, because it will immediately spoil some things. So if very important things. I'm not going to mention it, but it's going to spoil some things that happen in the show if you watch The Many Saints of Newark before you watch Sopranos. So what I did this time around, I watched it yesterday. I watched, you know what? I almost want to say spoiler alert, but I watched Many Saints of Newark after like the third to last episode of the show. I basically, hold on, I'll edit it in. But I watched The Many Saints of Newark right before the finale of the final season of Sopranos, and if you do that, you kind of get like a really cool backstory on Christopher Moltisanti's father, as well as the backstory of Tony Soprano, because Christopher Moltisanti's father was like a mentor figure for Tony Soprano, and it's I guess you could easily also watch the movie after watching the entirety of the show, but I mixed it in right at a very specific point that at the end of the final season, or towards the end of the final season, I watched I watched the show. I'm just gonna say from here, I'm gonna say spoiler alert. Oh, man, I hate doing spoiler things. Just be careful. Watch the show first, then watch the movie. And if you're a seasoned vet like me, watching Sopranos multiple times, watch it, when it feels appropriate, right before the very end of the show. And it was good. It's okay on its own, but it serves a higher purpose, I think, being after the show or right when I watched it. But I'll leave which episode to watch Many Saints of Newark after. But anyways, check out Sopranos. It's one of the best like mafia shows, especially about like that period of time, the late 90s, modern day mafia type dudes. And additionally, it's one of the best shows about like psychiatry and mental illness and the criminal mindset, versus the American dream. How to achieve the American dream? Are you gonna achieve it the way your father did? Kind of the, are you able to achieve it the way your father did with the same mindset, the same methodology? Or do you have to make your way in a new world every single generation? Watch Sopranos. It's really good, and it's amazing watching it and seeing how much of it translates to your life. To me personally, like I said, I'm like Tony Soprano now. I'm older. I have a bunch of kids. I'm not in the mafia, but some of the mental health issues and stuff. It's very, very relevant. Very midlife crisis, fun time. Good Sopranos, good time. And yeah, I know I name dropped you, William, but Chad, old Chad, you're the one who got me into Sopranos. It probably was going to be a show that I was just going to skip for years and years, but I got to experience the excitement of watching it right before the finale. I remember we sat and we just burned through episodes of this on the weekends before when we had a lot of the extra time. And I love this show. It was a great coming of age show. Like I said, I watched it when I was young, like Christopher. Now I'm watching it and I'm old, like Tony. So thanks for hanging out. I definitely think this show deserves more than just a little discussion like this, but currently right now, I just wanted to kind of talk about the Many Saints of Newark in relation to the show. Like I said, I've had friends ask who haven't watched the show, when do I watch the show? Do I watch it before? Do I watch it after? And I'm saying, watch it after. And if you've already seen the show, time it to when feels appropriate, because it was kind of a cool experience getting to watch it right before the series finale, you know, and at a very appropriate time. Yeah, and I'll leave the message to say the name of the episode to watch it after. But yeah, I'm sure I lost most of you guys by now, but if any of you want to watch Sopranos and need another thumbs up from it, just say, hey, I saw your episode where you talk about Sopranos. Is it really that good? And yes, my answer is, it is really that good. So thanks for hanging out. I'll maybe talk about this show a little more in depth at a certain time, but right now I'm done. So yeah, thanks. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good one. Peace. Love you guys.
Give me back my son!